welcome to the Tome of Worms podcast, a podcast about all things board gaming. I'm your host, Minty, and sitting across from me today, Pops.
All right.
How you doing, mate? All right.
Been a while, hasn't it?
It has. I did put out a message on Instagram the other day, just saying, life's been a bit tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say so. The joys of having a family.
Yep, absolutely. We won't bore you with all of that, but
No.
we're here. We're recording. Hopefully this will be out by the end of the month.
Hopefully by the end of the week.
We shall see. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about card games. Not trading card games.
And not poker
and
Or-
not poker, yeah.
rummy or blackjack or go fish or snap. In a way.
Yeah, card-based board games is the idea today. We're going to go through a couple with you, just give a quick overview of each one. If you want more in-depth overviews of games, I think we're going to start doing some on Instagram, just some write-ups of different games. And obviously we've got Pops quiz a little bit later. So should we jump straight in?
Boing.
The first game I'm going to talk about today is Taco, Cat, Goat, Cheese, Pizza.
It's really messed with my head.
This game is created by Blue Orange. It is down as a family game. It does say it's for 8+, but my 5-year-old plays it without a problem. It's for 2 to 8 players and roughly 10 minutes a game. We're going to go through all these games in the style we have been. So we'll talk about setup, the rulebook, gameplay, and then just like an overall overview of the game, shall we say. So the setup for Taco, Cat, Goat, Cheese, Pizza is very simple. Actually, we should probably talk about what the game is first.
We should really, we can go, it's a really easy game. Don't know how to set it up.
Yeah.
Or anything. So, explain. Because to me, I thought it was collect all the pizzas, all the tacos, all the goats, but it's nothing like that.
No, it isn't. It is a game of getting rid of all of your cards, being the first one out. That means you're the winner. The game is really simple played. You have a deck of cards. Normally it's 12 cards for a 2 to 5 player game, or you just split all the cards for 6 to 8.
You could split the whole deck. Like when we played it, it was over pretty quick. Probably could have played with a few more cards.
Yeah, probably could have done, but I think it's down as one of the quicker games. Just like a little filler game.
Mm-hmm.
You literally just flip a card over. The first player will say the word taco. The second player will say cat, goat, so on and so on. Each player saying a different word. If the card they turn over is what they've said, it turns into a little bit like Snap.
Yeah, and it was a little bit confusing at times.
It is at first. I didn't really explain it to you. I just went, off we go. So if the person said taco and there was a taco, everybody has to put their hand down on top of the cards. The last person to put their hand on top of the cards takes all the cards that are in the centre, pretty much.
Yeah, which is really fun if you're dyslexic, because you go, these look the same. Oh, well done. Oh, you beat me.
But there's pictures also. So once you get used to the pictures.
Yeah, but you are dyslexic as well.
Yes.
I'm not going to make it all about me. But you have to try and work out, hold on, that picture matches that word.
Yeah, but once you get used to that, it's a nice, simple game. There are a couple of wild cards, should we say. There is a groundhog.
They were quite wild.
There's a groundhog, a gorilla, and a narwhal.
Narwhal.
If a player plays a groundhog, everybody has to drum on the table with their fists. If somebody plays a gorilla, you have to bang on your chest. And if somebody plays a narwhal, you have to put your hands together over your head like a narwhal. If you get it wrong, you have to pick up the middle of the cards in the middle. If you go to put your hand on a pile of cards and it isn't correct, you have to pick up all the cards. And like I said, you have to get rid of your cards. Once you've got rid of all your cards, you have to be the first person to put your hand on the deck to win the game. So when somebody says taco and plays taco or cheese or goat or pizza or cat, whatever, if you're the first person to put it on, then you win the game.
Which is a little bit backwards because a lot of card games obviously is the person with the most cards wins.
Yeah. But it's a bit like there's a certain version of double where you have to get rid of all your cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, the setup's very easy. You just deal out the cards. 12 to 2 to 5 players, and then just split all the cards between 6 and 8. The rule book is a tiny slip of paper. I know this isn't a video thing, but I am now looking at the rule book. It's tiny. It's well laid out. It explains the game way better than I just explained it.
Most books do.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty good rule book. It's quite, like I said, it's quite easy. If you want a quick filler game to start a night or end a night, or
if you've
take
had a few drinks,
yeah, it could be good fun.
It's a very if you did that in the pub with a few people, yeah, I could see the appeal of it.
The gameplay, like we said, is pretty simple. You turn a card over.
Yep.
If the card is what you said it is, then everybody has to slap their hand on the table or on top of the deck. The 3 words we have down in our write-up are simple, fun, and chaotic.
A bit like another game that we'll talk about as well.
Yes. Overall, I think it's a brilliant game for like a filler game. My 5-year-old loves it. We play it all the time. I know it says 8+, but as soon as they get the hang of it, they're okay. The scores we gave it, Pops, you gave it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I think it was more the simplicity of it that kind of drops its score a little bit.
Yeah, I will say that we are scoring this on a 2-player game of this game.
Yeah, I think if there was more involved, maybe a bit of alcohol, maybe I might have scored it higher.
Yeah, I've put a 7 out of 10. Like I said, simple, quick, nice and easy, but there's not much to get your teeth into, really. Have you got anything else to say about Taco?
Simple, mainstream kind of game for me.
Lovely. Do you want to talk about the next one?
Yeah, so I'm going to go about a game based on the movie. There are a few others of this, not to give it away just yet, but there are Predator. There's a Matrix one.
It's a Marvel one.
Marvel one. Did you say there's a Star Wars one?
I haven't seen a Star Wars version of this. I will double check.
I mean, I think Star Wars would work quite well.
Yeah.
With it, but it's the Legendary Encounters series. But this was we did the Alien deck building. Part of it's made by Upper Deck, which sometimes gets a bad rap.
Yeah,
Upper Deck, don't they?
I haven't seen a lot of them recently.
No, like people go, oh, Upper Deck, yeah, they're just famous for baseball cards and NBA cards and stuff like that. A bit like what are they called, Tops. Tops and now took over, haven't they? There's the setup. First game setup was really well explained in the guide. It can take a while though, depending on the complexity of how you're setting it up
and how you packed it away.
Yes, you really need to be quite organised, haven't you? Really, with this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it says how many cards are actually in the box. But there's a lot.
Well, you've got the expansions as well.
So the base game comes with 600 cards.
And then you probably got another 300 for the expansion?
Yeah, I don't know. But like I said, my expansions are still all in the plastic, so it's not horrific.
I'm kind of guessing on the size of how they look.
Yeah.
And they look about 100. The good use of pictures in the guide. I think that's quite a useful thing. Like most guides, if you've got a picture setup of how the game is set up, then it's going to be a lot easier to understand as you're playing it. I think the games afterwards doesn't really explain it.
Not a lot. I mean, we found that little index in the back, didn't we? If you wanted to play through I think it's got the first 4 Alien
First 4
films,
movies, yeah.
and it tells you which characters to include, which locations and objectives to do. Obviously, you can then just randomize it later on, but that's all down to you and getting used to the game, I think.
Yeah, I think one of the drawbacks on it is because the base game is 600 cards. When are you ever going to use 600 cards? You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be a possibility of not expanding enough. So for example, something like Dog Park. If you've got all the expansions like I've got, it's very rare that I'm going to go through all the dogs.
I think that's a problem with quite a few of the games. There's a game we're not including today, which is Cards Against Humanity. If you get the whole collection, there's no way you're ever going to get through all those cards. There's going to be some cards that you don't. I mean, I think we went through our copy and took out just rubbish ones. But like with this one, I've played it quite a few times. As when we were playing earlier, I did play it wrong for 6 months. Because none of us checked the rulebook. We've watched a video, played it as the demo did it, and didn't add any of the other rules in. We just played like a beginner game. But then once we got the hang of it, it was okay. Basically, each scenario you choose 4 characters, whether that be Captain Dallas, Warrant, Officer Ripley, Lambert, and Parker. There's 14 cards in each character. You shuffle them up, and that creates your deck, your buy deck. So you buy cards to build your deck up. So it's a deck building game. This one. So you buy those cards, add them to your deck, and then you get more and more powerful as you go through drawing these cards. So the way that it's set out movie-wise, actually, is quite good. If you play through the 4 movies, I think you use most of the cards, so it kind of eliminates that problem. But there is other cards included, so like you get a drone deck that adds to the objective decks, which randomize that. So you take out one card, add one, for each player. So you don't always use the same ones. You've got a massive pile of strike cards. You've got loads of other cards in there as well. So I think they've done quite well in actually using all the cards. It's one of the better games for that. Obviously, as you saw, we haven't added, like, there's other rules you add in that has a deck of cards. Like somebody can play the alien, so you have another deck of cards, but then that changes the game completely. It is a fully cooperative game, normally, using normal rules. You work together to try and defeat the aliens, and as we found out earlier, if there's only one person left and you need to defeat the perfect organism, it's pretty impossible.
It was, I just couldn't get enough strikes to...
But then I think we chose the wrong characters. Neither of us were a strong fighty. We played the scout and the medic. Obviously there's a gunner, there's a synthetic, there's a commander, there's researchers. They all do different things. But going back to the main point, I think it does use the dispersion of cards quite well. Like we said, the setup can take a little while if you haven't packed it away properly or it's your first time using it. But the more you play it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, I think that's the same with most games, isn't it? It's like the more you play it, the more you go, right, okay, I need this many cards, I need this. These go here. These people already have this card as part of their hand and things like that. So yeah, it makes a good use of it, doesn't it? Really,
I think so.
But there is that what's the word? There is that element of not being able to rotate the deck enough.
I think if it's not played regularly, then you won't use all of it. If you're playing it with a new group all the time, you're always going to start playing Alien number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So you only use 4 of the characters.
Yeah.
You only use one version of Ripley. You know, there are 4 versions of Ripley included in the game because there's 4 films.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spoil any of the films for anybody. But
No. You might have seen them. You might not have. I mean, they are nearly 100 years old.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoy this game a lot. I used to play it with the brothers loads. Like I said, for 6 months we played it wrong. But, you know, when we learnt it and it does get really hard. I think at the start when me and you were playing earlier, it started off quite easy.
It started off quite easy. We kind of built up a bit of momentum, didn't we? And
yeah.
we thought, okay, this could end quite well.
And then it just
went downhill.
To pot. We got swamped by aliens.
Yeah. Couldn't do anything.
No, and they couldn't heal.
No, couldn't heal.
Even though we had the medic.
Medic.
It just wasn't coming up at the right time. And it is one of those games, like we said, it's a deck building game. So you are trusting in the draw of the deck.
Yeah, and I think there is that strategy element to it as well of what's the best thing you can build your deck with at that time, given what's in your hand already.
Yeah, I think like you came into it completely blind.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't know what was best to go for. So you were getting a lot of... So you buy cards with stars,
mm-hmm.
and you defeat cards with strikes.
Yeah, see, I was buying the stars.
You were buying the stars to be able to buy more cards, and then by the time we've got 3 aliens in the combat zone attacking us, it was a bit too late to start buying
cards,
the
strikes, yeah.
That were really effective. But yeah, like we said, I mean, the gameplay isn't too difficult once you get going.
No, once you get into the swing of it, it kind of self-explanatory, and like every card game, it's repetition.
Absolutely. I mean, my wife isn't a fan of this game. She'll be shocked to hear.
Suppose.
I don't know whether it's the theme or she's just not a fan of deck building games, I don't think. Apart from Villainous, but that's not really a deck building game, is it?
Not really.
We'll go into that in a bit.
Yeah.
But I think if you like, especially if the other versions that I've found, I'll quickly just give you a run through of what I found. Legendary Encounters 007.
Ooh.
Legendary Encounters Firefly. We said about Marvel, and there are, 600 expansions for the Marvel one.
Of course there is. Everyone's cashing in at the moment on Marvel, aren't they?
Apparently the Matrix one is new. So it looks like they're still creating these. What else did I see earlier? X-Files?
I'd quite like the X-Files one. I think that would be quite a good one. I would hope that Cancer is one of the characters.
I would assume so. I mean, it's $60 online at the minute.
That's quite cheap compared to some of the second-hand prices I found for Matrix and Predator.
Brand new, the Matrix is $80.
That's cheaper than I found at second-hand.
But yeah, so they're the other ones. So if I think if you could find a theme that you like, then this is quite a good game. Like I really like the Alien films. But like if you like Marvel or 007 or X-Files or Firefly.
Yeah, see, Matrix for me, like Matrix is the best film ever made.
Ooh,
so
controversial.
Matrix is the best film ever made because it is
the worst film ever followed up on.
Are you talking about the recent Matrix, the
Revelations?
Revelations.
That's all we need to. It's not.
I went to cinema to watch that because I was like, right, it's
you are old enough.
Yeah, that's how old I am.
It's a good film, but there are definitely better films. One we were talking about a minute ago.
Alien, wins, but and I mean we have sidetracked onto a movie podcast right now, but Matrix in 1999 was groundbreaking.
Oh yeah,
and it wasn't until you watched it again and again and again that you saw different things. Like I'll still watch it now. 26 years later, and I still see things I never noticed before.
But it really hasn't aged well.
Of course, it has.
Not for a younger generation.
You just all woke.
Oh no, I enjoy the Matrix. Enjoy the first Matrix.
Yeah, first Matrix, brilliant.
Probably top 10 films, but there are so many better films than the Matrix out
Let us know on Instagram. I'll put a post on there now.
there. Live.
I'm going to do it now.
And then that'll be the end of the tome of DVD cases.
Yes.
But yeah, I think going back to the board game, I think if you really like a theme, then it's probably a lot better. If you like deck building games, then obviously it's going to be really good for you. But yeah, I mean, let us know. Do you think The Matrix is the best film of all time? Yeah, I think if you like one of the themes for one of the versions of this game, then it's probably going to be a better game for you. If you like deck building games, definitely give it a go. But obviously, our motto at the Tome of Worms is give any game a go, no matter what the theme, really, because you never know. The way it plays might surprise you.
It's true.
What scores did we give this one?
So I gave it an 8.
Oh,
Ring-a-ding-a-ding-dong.
that's quite high.
For me it is, yes.
Did I give it
You gave it an 8.
an 8? Yep, cool. Yeah, like I said, it's quite replayable. Like we said, if you do play through the movies, it's quite good. If you want to mix it up, you can throw in all 4 different types of Ripley into the deck if you want to.
You could just make it Ripley's, believe it or not.
But yeah, have you got anything else on that one?
Those aliens hit hard.
Oh, they hit really hard.
They hit really hard. I was fine. I had, 2 strikes against me?
Yep.
Within 3 turns, I was dead.
Yeah, and you had 10 health.
And I had 10 health.
Yeah.
Well, 9, because my first turn, I got stuck with one that I couldn't cure.
Yeah, it does get really nasty, but I quite like that in this game. Like,
Yeah.
It's not too easy.
I think it built you up. The way
False sense of security, like
yeah,
the film.
and then it smashes you in the face. It was,
Yeah.
I think it was really, really good.
Good. I'm glad. So we're going to talk about another probably smaller game. Definitely smaller
It
than
is
that one.
definitely, I'd say it's the second smallest game we played
Probably.
this evening.
Yeah. So this time we're going to talk about Love Letter. Primarily Lovecraft Love Letter.
Yes. We did do 2 versions.
We did. We played Lovecraft Letter and Bridgerton Love Letter.
Yeah, which I've never... no, I have watched some Bridgerton.
I haven't. My wife has. That's why we have it.
Well, I say I watched it. It was on the screen that was in front of me.
So for those people that don't know, Love Letter is a card game. Shock horror. We're talking about card games. Where you basically need to be the last one in the round to win. In the Cthulhu one, in the Lovecraft one, you need to gain either 3 insane tokens or 2 sane tokens to win. In the Bridgerton one, you need to collect 6 diamonds. In normal Love Letter, you need to collect 7 cubes, I think it is. Depending on how many players there are, that number changes. Setup for this game is really easy. You shuffle the deck, you discard 1 card, and you deal 1 card to everybody playing. Unless you're playing 2 players, and then each one has a different amount of cards that you get rid of on top of the 1. So Lovecraft Letter, in total, you get rid of 6 cards. In the Bridgerton one, you get rid of 4 cards. Stuff like that. So you don't get all the cards all the time. So like I said, setup's really easy. Everybody gets 1 card. Simple as. The gameplay is really easy as well. You basically draw a card and play a card. So you draw a card, and then there's, in the Lovecraft one, there's 8 different types of card. 9 different types of card, including the Migo brain case. Each card has a different power, and those powers are there to help you or make you knock other people out of the game. So there's a card where you compare your hand with another player, and whoever's got the highest card, whoever's got the lowest card, is out with that round. Obviously, that's done secretly. You don't do it if there's more than two of you. Then obviously you just show the person that you're going with.
Mm-hmm.
There is a card that blocks you from being the target of any card. And then the top cards for most of these games are, if discarded, you lose the game. So in Cthulhu, there are 2 8 cards. There's Cthulhu himself and the Necronomicon. If you discard the Necronomicon, then you lose. If you or are made to discard the Necronomicon, because nobody's going to willingly discard it because you lose. And then if you've got Cthulhu, if you're insane and you've got 2 insane cards in front of you, then you win with Cthulhu. So the insane cards are a little bit more powerful, but obviously you need more insane tokens than you do sane tokens. Does that make sense? The rulebook for this is not even an A4 piece of paper. It's tiny again. It explains everything really well. It's laid out really well. It's really easy to learn. Really easy to read. Once again, my 5-year-old loves this game. I'm not sure she 100% reads all of the cards, but she knows what most of them do now. As we said, gameplay is really easy. Draw a card, play a card, be the last one standing. Once again, it's another nice, easy, quick game. I think the Lovecraft one says it is 15 minutes. 2 to 6 players, age 14 and up. I don't know whether that's because it's Lovecraft or not. Whether they think it's a bit scarier.
Probably.
My version of Lovecraft Letter is made by a different company to the normal Love Letter. Recently, it's been re-released by Z-Man Games, the Lovecraft Letter one, but it's called Arkham Horror Lovecraft.
Yes, I'd seen that they were doing an Arkham Horror.
I'm not 100% sure why, and I couldn't find a reason why. So my version is made by AEG Games. AEG stands for Old Rick Entertainment Group. I don't know if they're still going, whether they've been dissolved, whatever. But it has been re-released. Z-Man Games make Bridgerton and normal Love Letter.
They also make many, many other games.
Z-Man do make a lot of games.
Can you name 3?
I could, but now they've all gone out of my head.
Carcassonne.
Yeah, Carcassonne.
Pandemic.
It is Pandemic.
Pandemic.
They make Cryo.
Yeah, there's the 3.
But yeah, they also make a lot of other versions of this. So there's a Star Wars one called Jabba's Palace. There's a Marvel one called Infinity Gauntlet. And then randomly I found the other day a Lilo and Stitch one called The Fix for 626.
That would be cool.
It comes in a little pouch that looks like Stitch's head. So I'll definitely
Buy it.
keep my eye out for that.
Buy it.
Obviously, this is a short one because there's not much of the game to talk about because it is that simple. I quite enjoy the artwork on some of the cards. I'm a massive Lovecraft fan. If people haven't been able to tell, as we're going to be talking about 2 different Lovecraft games today. I have, I think, 7 on my board game shelf.
AE Games are still going.
Oh, are they?
Yes, they've done many games. Many games that are up on your shelves as well.
I didn't think I had another AEG game.
Yes.
That's embarrassing.
I'm sure.
Oh, Inner Compass.
Yes.
What was I saying? Yeah, I've got quite a few Cthulhu Lovecraft type games. I can see 1, 2, 3, at least 6, not including anything else. I've also got all of the works of H.P. Lovecraft. Obviously, some of his views are outdated, being from the age he was. It's quite racist, quite sexist, but the games are awesome. I mean, Mansions of Madness is a Lovecraft game, and it's insane. We will talk about that in a future episode. But anyway, coming off of that, yeah, like I said, Lovecraft Letter, love it. You've given it a 6 out of 10.
Bit simple again. I think it didn't really grab me.
I think maybe if you don't play it with 2 players, it's probably better.
I think it would be better if it's more.
Yeah.
I didn't like the cards. They were long and narrow.
Yeah, they're massive. I know the new one, they are normal
Normal
size.
size.
Like I said, I don't know why this is the only one that's like this, but just looking at the box, the designer of this one is the designer of the one that Z-Man are making. So
See the box. I like the design of the box. I like the shelf appeal of it. It's really cool.
So one thing that I will mention is the base game comes with a load of sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
Now the sleeves are exactly the same as the card, backing wise.
Yeah.
But all of the backing came off and they just turned silver after a while. So it was really cool that it came with sleeves, but we played it that much that it didn't last. I mean, the box itself is really cool. The chips that you use for the tokens are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the Lovecraft one is the biggest rulebook I've seen for a love letter game.
It's a large book just for a card game.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of card games, they're just one or two sides of a card.
A felt bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was love letter. I'll take the reins and do another game while we're here instead of having to pass the book backwards and forwards. Once again, it's another quick game. This is going to be Flux, and it will shock you to know we're mainly going to be talking about Cthulhu Flux.
Again? Maybe we should just call this a Cthulhu podcast.
Well, where do you think Tome of Worms comes from?
Well, yeah, exactly.
So, Flux, for those of you who don't know, it is a... Shall I read it off the back, actually?
Go on, give us the official description. Drum roll, please.
The tagline for the Cthulhu one is the card game that will drive you insane. And that's pretty much all it is.
I would say that kind of goes with what we said about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's for 2 to 6 players, age 13 and up, apparently. There's a lot of reading on the cards in there.
There is, you know.
Somewhere between 10 and 40 minutes.
One thing I don't like about card games is too much text on them. And Flux kind of has quite a lot of text on some of them.
It does have quite a lot of text on some of them, but this is a harder version of Flux. The original Flux, there are no creepers. So there's just action cards, gold cards, rule cards, and keeper cards. So the original Flux is really simple.
Mm-hmm.
This adds a bit more flavour, a bit more...
yeah, like I don't mind that. It's the
wall of text.
The wall of text of just describing, oh, you're now going to draw 5 cards and play 5. Mm-hmm. Or something like that. It doesn't need to go, each player now takes 5 cards and draws 5 cards and plays 5 cards. And what's the point? Just go, draw 5, play 5.
But once again, the more you play it, the easier it becomes. You know, if you are just playing it once, then it could be a little bit chonky.
Mm-hmm.
But the basic premise of the game is simple. Most people are going to pick up the version of it that they like. I've got Cthulhu because it's me.
I'd probably pick up the pirate one.
Yeah, but we've played the pirate one. There's a space one, a maths one, a drinking one, Monty Python and the Holy Grail version, Wizard of Oz. There's so many. So you pick up a version of it you like. And I think that's what draws more people to it. The game is really simple. You deal 3 cards to each player. Each player then draws a card, plays a card. That's where the easiness of the game stops.
Yeah.
There are rule cards that change the rules. So it could be that you then have to draw 5 cards and play 1. It could be that you have to draw 1 card and play 5.
Which is really difficult because if you don't have 5 in your hand,
you just play what you've
got. Just play what you got, which kind of defeats that object in a way.
And then somebody always comes along and play all when you've got like 20 cards in your hand.
Yep.
There are other rule cards such as hand limits and keeper limits. So keepers are cards you put in front of you, and they're the cards you need to complete the goals that are played. So if a goal gets played and you have the 2 cards in front of you, you win.
Like I did.
Like you did. But there are rule cards that change the entire game. Normally in the Cthulhu one, if you get a creeper such as Madness, Nightmares, the Body, Metamorphosis, those kind of things, you can't win unless the goal says you need one of those cards.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a rule card called Knowledge is Power, where you can win with creepers, so it doesn't matter. So it is simple, but also chaotic.
It can be, it can be very chaotic, especially if there's more than two of you.
Yep.
3 or 4 people, and then like every turn of a card's a new rule,
Yep.
and you're trying to keep up, or
Yeah, it's one of those where it's good fun, but you have to be paying attention. You can't really take your attention away from it very much. It could get, when you play like 6 players, it gets really annoying when somebody goes, "Oh, what's everybody done?" Like it is quick, fast paced, really easy to do. The setup, like I said, is really easy. Deal 3 cards to each player.
Mm-hmm.
Shuffle the deck. The rulebook is a piece of A4 paper. Explains everything really well. There's some really nice pictures and diagrams. Explains what all the symbols mean, all the extra rules, all that kind of stuff. Really good. Once again, we've put the gameplay down as simple but chaotic, because that's what it is. It's a game of ever-changing rules. There is a card in there that resets the rules, so you could have 10 different rules on the board. Somebody comes along and it goes back to draw 1, play 1. So I really enjoyed this game.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it more this time than when I played it. I think the pirate one seemed a bit more chaotic.
I think that's because we're playing 3 players.
Possibly.
I think the chaos just... the more players you play, the more jeopardy there is in what you put in front of you.
I think it was the first time I played it as well, so I didn't quite understand it.
And we played it at the end of a 6-hour stint of playing board games.
Yes. So we were all a little bit...
We were a little bit tired. We travelled to Oxford to play.
Yep.
And I think one of us had just come off a night shift.
Yes.
Yeah. I've given this a 9 out of 10 because I absolutely love it. It's not perfect, but I think that's mainly just because there's so many versions of it that I want, and I don't want to spend 18 to 20 quid on every version.
Yeah, for me, the price is a sticking point on that game. If you can find it second hand, great,
I got the Cthulhu one in the sale.
Yeah. If you can get in the sale or second hand, it's worth it. I think brand new, I'm not going to be spending 20 quid on a card game.
I think it's definitely worth 20 quid if you've got one. If there's one you like, you love the theme, you've played it, whatever, it's definitely worth £20. But when you get like with Love Letter, I've got 3 different versions because it's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this doesn't really lend itself to that. It is on the cheaper end of games, especially on my shelf.
Yeah.
But for people that just want a nice quick card game, I think the ones with IPs on them as well are more expensive. So there is that. You go in 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think again, decent gameplay. I think I scored it higher because I understood it a bit better this time. Yeah, I think it's not, like say, the most perfect game, but it's a good. Well, let's have a couple of card games tonight, kind of thing.
It's a good filler, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to hand you the reins for the next game.
Yeah. So my one, greatest game. It's not greatest game, but it's the game I've probably played the longest in my long and established life. And I've still got a set from, I want to say 92.
Is that the Supercar one?
That's the Le Mans.
Oh, the Le Mans one.
That actually went to Le Mans with me a couple of years ago. And that is Top Trumps. Now, obviously, back in the day, they were made with Waddingtons. Not Boddingtons, the beer.
Can you remember the price?
A couple of quid.
50p.
Yeah.
The
first deck in the 70s, 50p, yeah. But, yeah, when I was younger, it's probably £1.50 or something stupid like that.
It's definitely hitting that now.
5 shillings.
£14 now.
Yeah. No, you can get new ones now for £5-6.
So where was I? the other day.
If you get the battle mats were about 15 quid.
I think I was in the Natural History Museum.
Yeah.
They've got a dinosaur one, that was 15 quid.
Yeah, they've marked their price. If you go, it's now made by Winning Moves. I think now make Top Trumps.
Oh, okay.
And they, on their website, you're probably looking around 6-8 quid. So it's not a crazy price, but it's, no. You can pick them up elsewhere. Like I've got a Bletchley Park.
Codebreaker one.
Yeah. And I still have the Silverstone.
The original one.
The Top Trump Silverstone one. Not the original one, but the one we got at the Formula One.
Oh, yeah.
A few years ago, and they did the special edition Lewis Hamilton card. Who'd have think that a few years later I'd work at Silverstone?
Yeah.
But yes, so I have 20 sets, close to 20 sets, and they're not all official Top Trumps. Some of them are mullet trumps, Mega trumps.
There's poo trumps as well, isn't there? Yeah.
Don't think I had poo trumps. I had beard trumps.
Yeah.
But mullet trumps, I remember I was in a bar and it was quite a quiet night in the bar, and someone walked in and went, "I've got a game that we should play." And it was mullet trumps. And I was hooked on it straight away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really simple family game. The aim of the game is that you collect all the cards you win by giving the highest score on each category, and if you win, you keep that card. And if you draw, it goes in the middle, and you play again. And yeah, you keep going, keep going. Really simple. Somewhere to play if you're camping, if you're going to in the pub, friends round, whatever.
Yeah, and as we've said with a couple of other games before, there's a theme for everyone. Like I said, dinosaurs, dogs, cars,
history, places.
I think I've got
aeroplanes.
A Harry Potter one.
Harry Potter. There's Marvel.
Maybe I gave it to you.
I think there's DC.
There's definitely a Lord of the Rings one.
Yeah, there's Lord of the Rings ones. There are everything that's anything. Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got all the junior ones. So you've got like Gabby's Dollhouse.
Yeah.
And then there's ones based on books like Oi Frog.
Yeah. I think everyone's just jumped on, haven't they? And they've kind of done it. I enjoy Top Trumps.
And then you've got Top Trumps.
Quiz.
Yeah, you have ones like that as well.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how that one plays. I know my niece has got some of those.
I think I had a Marvel one and I never played it.
I think you have to get the question right on the card to win the card. Then it's the person with the most cards at the end.
And then there was also like a reveal one.
Yeah.
It was like a big plastic box with square cubes. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I had a Marvel one.
Oh, no.
And never ever played it, so I sold it. Which I kind of wish I kept now.
You didn't know back then you'd be doing a board game podcast.
Not at all.
To be fair, 2 years ago you wouldn't have guessed you were doing a board game podcast.
Probably a year ago I wouldn't have guessed I was doing the board game podcast either. But yeah, it's really simple, really, really easy to play. Yes, it can drag on. Like sometimes you'll get stuck in a rut where you just constantly like, oh, I remember that card. Like there are some rules are you have to name that card before reading the category.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden you go, oh, I know about that aeroplane. It's always got a top speed of 750 miles an hour or something.
Now, controversially, I know a lot of people that house rule Top Trumps, where if a card comes up more than twice, you can't use the same stat again.
So I always used to play where you can't use the same stat twice in a row.
Yeah.
So if you won a card, you couldn't then go for strength again.
Yeah.
You would have to go for something else.
But I think that's only after you've played it quite a few times. I think
it
doesn't matter the first couple of times, does it?
Really? No. But yeah, once it starts coming around, you can't keep using that one. But then you are then limiting the amount of time that card, because you've only got four or five categories on each card.
Yeah, and normally the one that's really good at one thing is really bad at something else.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's one of those. Like I said, I really enjoy Top Trumps. It's very nostalgic for me.
It's a game that's played better with more than 2 people.
Oh, gotcha. But it's also a game that does play well with 2.
Yeah.
It's plenty to play with 2. It's just annoying to deal out, half a deck. To each
Yeah,
person.
like they're not big decks though.
I think the original decks were only like 11 cards.
Yeah. I mean they're slightly more now, but
Yeah.
they're not so quick to play.
Yeah.
No, I guess.
Absolutely. If I remember correctly, setup's really easy. It's just deal out all the cards.
Just deal them out, yeah. Deal them out. Just get going.
Yeah. Gameplay, as we said, really easy. Choose a stat.
Choose
Put it in
stats,
the
say
middle.
it. If you're the highest, win.
I'd probably give it about a 7. It's enjoyable, but it is simple.
Yeah, I think I score it probably about 7 or 8 again because of it being so simple.
Yep.
I think the attraction for me is it is so varied in the topics that it's so like the images used, the nostalgia side, not just nostalgia of playing it, but the nostalgia of
The card.
the card, like looking on it and you've got, well, for you, a Robbie Fowler card from the 90s.
Yeah.
Or Steve McManaman
I
card.
think my dad does actually have the Liverpool one.
There probably was a Liverpool Top Trumps, yeah.
There'll be a new one this year.
Yeah.
Because we're champions.
Shh. People might not already know this.
It was yesterday. It's fine. It's old news now. It's been inevitable for, at least a month.
Have you noticed that you've only started winning the championship since Steven Gerrard left?
That's not his fault.
Really, no, he always used to slip up, didn't he? Bob. That's the end of that.
That's the end of the Tome is a football pitch. But yeah, like I said, Top Trumps, love it. I don't think there's many people that don't like it. There might be some people that don't enjoy it as much as other games, but there's...
Or they might see it as more child game, kind of family game.
It's not actually one I've introduced to my daughter yet. I'll have to get her a deck.
I've got a few you can borrow.
Have you got anything else on that? No? Cool.
No.
We're going to move on to the last game we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about one type of this because me and you have played it, and then I'm going to expand into the other version. This is Villainous. So it's Star Wars Villainous we're going to talk about. I will go into the other Villainous. We played Star Wars because you have no interest in Disney. Well, less interest in
I have
Disney.
less interest in Disney, yeah.
And not as much interest in the Marvel one. Also, from my side, I'm not a massive fan of Marvel. There's only one character in that box that I play.
If they made a DC Universe one, I'd be quite happy with.
Yeah, I know, but no, it's Marvel. Villainous is one of my favourite games of all time. If you draw your attention back to our episode 0, available on Spotify and soon to be available on YouTube, you'll remember it's in my top 10 games of all time, mainly the Disney one. The Star Wars one is a great version of it. So in Villainous, you choose a villain. Ooh, twist.
Surprise, surprise.
I believe in the Star Wars one, it's Darth Vader, Moff Gideon, General Grievous, Phasma's in one of the expansions. Asajj Ventress. I think you only get 4 in the core. Oh no. Yeah, Vader, Grievous, Ventress, Gideon, Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren, that was it.
So the idea of Villainous is to complete the villain's objective. So, for instance, Darth Vader needs to kill Luke. General Grievous needs to collect 8 lightsabers. That kind of thing. It's the same for Disney. You play a villain, then you, like, Captain Hook has to defeat Peter Pan on the Jolly Roger. Rah, rah, rah. It's a card drawing game. So it is very dependent on the cards in your deck. Some games can be really quick due to that, and some games can be quite long. Setup for the game is quite easy. It's explained really well in the rules. You choose your villain, you get your player map, which is their realm.
It even tells you what to do to win.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. You put the cauldron of power in the middle, and then you get your cards. You get split the two decks, so you've got a fate deck that affects you and is bad for you. For some players, if for General Grievous, you need your fate deck, otherwise you're never going to win. And then you get your player's deck, so you shuffle those up, and that's it. You draw 4 cards, off you go. Each character, and this is my favourite part of the game, and well, not my favourite part. It's a part of the game I really like, and that is each character gets a booklet. That booklet tells you exactly how that character wins, what cards are useful, and what cards to watch out for in your fate deck. I like this concept because it means everybody can have a full understanding of their character without having somebody to explain the rules to them. Like I said, it's in the booklet. Really useful. So setup is really, really easy. The rulebook, the main rulebook for the game, is laid out really well. It explains all the rules really well. Uses pictures, uses examples as well. Then gameplay, you have 4 cards in your hand, and then your board has 4 sections to it. In Star Wars, there's 5 because there's a ship place. So when you get a ship card, you can put it there and you get an extra place to move. So each location on your player board has a certain amount of actions. So it could be play a card, vanquish a foe, fate somebody else, which is where you draw cards to affect their player and hinder them. Draw power, which is the way you pay for cards and stuff like that. So each location has a different one of those. So you move. The first thing you do is move your normally really pretty mini.
They are really, really nice
Yeah.
miniatures. I think that's one of the appeals of Villainous. Although I'm not a huge fan of Disney, I do like a game that has a good table presence.
Absolutely. So you move that across, then you do the 4 or the 3 actions, or the 5, some people. I will explain there is somebody who's slightly different in the Disney one. And then you play your cards. So for General Grievous, you need to find Jedi, defeat Jedi, steal their lightsabers. That's pretty simple, that one. But somebody like Kylo Ren, they need to build up their army a little bit, then they need to find certain people and find different cards, so it's a bit longer.
I think that replicates the movie
Yeah,
a bit again, doesn't it? Because of Kylo Ren being the noob.
it's something we found in the Disney one. If you play one of the villains from the first box and then play one of the villains from the latest expansion, it's not always a fair game. You have to really know the characters to be able to stop them, let alone play them. For instance, in the Disney one, Prince John needs to collect 20 power. That's it. Whereas Captain Hook needs to find the map to Neverland. Then he needs to find Peter Pan. Then he needs to move Peter Pan to the Jolly Roger. Then he needs to defeat him. You know, like Jafar needs to find the lamp. Then he needs to open the Cave of Wonders. Then he needs to find his staff. Then he needs to find a scarab. You know, some of them are quite hard.
Mm.
You know, Lotso Bear needs to defeat all of the Toy Story characters pretty much to win. Whereas Prince John just needs to collect 20 power, which is great if you're playing with somebody young. Like I will play with my daughter. She always plays Maleficent because all you need to do is put a curse in each location. That's 4 cards she needs to find.
Yeah.
And I think she has 12 of them in her deck.
Well, like when we played the Star Wars one, you just needed 6 lightsabers.
Yep.
And I didn't catch on until you got to 5 and was like, what's going on?
Yep.
And I was like,
Especially when I then captured 2.
Yes. And I was so close to winning that game. And I thought I had it in the bag and not noticing that, yeah, you just needed 1 more.
It's one of those. In the Disney Villainous, I've played each and every character, and I've won as each and every character. There are
12 boxes, including Star Wars. I already counted them.
Yeah. Each expansion. So the main game of Disney Villainous has 6 if you got the old version of the main core game, there's 6 villains. For each other expansion, there's normally 3. But I do have the Oogie Boogie, who's on his own, and the newest one is just King Candy and I can't remember who the other one is. Oh, Shere Khan. So they are mixing it up. The Marvel one, you get Venom on his own, that kind of stuff. So it is varied, and I love the fact that they are adding all these characters. You know, Ratagun got added to the Disney one. You know, he's quite a forgotten character. The Horned King from the Black Cauldron, he's in it. You know, they've brought these characters back to life that some people have never heard of, and they play really well. Ravensburger, the company that created the game, have done an excellent job designing these characters and getting their decks to work for them. Like I said, some people don't, especially somebody who we play games with. She really doesn't like it because she feels it's unfair because somebody needs to do something quicker than something else. But it's like, well, fate them, stop them from doing it.
Yeah, or pick another player where they're evenly matched.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what we do now. The Star Wars one we're getting used to. I've got one expansion. It's got Darth Maul, Captain Phasma in it. I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You can get Boba Fett and you can get somebody else as well. I don't know who's in the other one.
Mandalorian? No, he's not. No, because he's not. He's not a villain.
He's not a villain.
Jabba the Hutt.
No, he's not in it. Whoever it is. There's another one. A3PO's got one.
Yes.
The expansions are standalone as well. Obviously, if you get Oogie Boogie, you're not going to have anybody to play with. But if you pick up one of the other expansions, you can just play with those 3 characters. It comes with all the bits you need, apart from the cauldron. You don't really need that. You just put a pile of tokens in the middle.
Yeah, have a pot or something.
You know, so they are standalone. I think it's down as playing up to 6 players. I've definitely played 12 players before. It's just long when you've got 12 players. 6 players is probably a good amount. It's when people are taking their turns, it can take a bit of time. You've got to read the cards, work out what you're doing. But as soon as you know what you're doing, it's pretty simple. I love the artwork. On the back of each character, they've drawn like a real simplistic version of what the character likes. And then they've just basically whitewashed it for the fake cards. I play this game all the time. I love this game. My daughter plays this game. And we normally introduce people to it quite early on when they come around to play games. The Disney one is my favourite, but Star Wars always holds a place in my heart because it's Star Wars, you know. Even though at the minute I am just playing Darth Maul and General Grievous because they're my characters. And it would be interesting to see them add somebody like Jabba.
Yeah, that would be quite cool. I think there's so many more possibilities for Villainous, you know, as they keep making movies and whatnot. I think you're always going to have an expansion.
Yeah, absolutely. And the different versions have different bits as well. There is a bit of a variance. So the Disney one is your basic one. You get your villain. There's a fate deck per person. If you play the Marvel one, the fate deck is universal. So everybody puts their fate deck together, and it affects everybody. So it's there's a bit more jeopardy to using it. In the Star Wars one, there's spaceships because you're in space, you know. So there is that added bit as well. They're not all exactly the same, just reskinned. There is a difference to them, which I quite enjoy as well. Ravensburger have done really well doing that. I give this game a 9.
Yeah, I'd score it highly. I'll probably go 8.
Absolutely. It's replayable. It's really good. Like I said, it's not badly priced.
No, I think what's expansion's like 20 quid, something like that.
Something like that. You can get them quite cheap.
Yeah.
I did get one shipped in from America. Ravensburger enjoy releasing these games to Target and Target only for the first couple of months, and they get their own versions of them as well. But they're an American company. We will be talking about American board game companies in a minute when we get to a little bit of the news and what's happening over there. But yeah, it is a really enjoyable game. It's one I definitely recommend to most people. Anything else you want to say on Villainous?
I think it's got the opportunity to grow and grow and grow and have more versions of the movies. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. As long as they can get hold of an IP, I'm sure they'll carry on making.
Yeah, I would imagine they've already got the deals. It's just how long they run with it before. No, it could drop off out after so many years. No, it'd be quite nice for them to do a DC Universe one, like I said.
Yep.
Because Marvel doesn't really interest me.
DC fan through and through.
Yep.
The next bit we're going to talk about. I don't like this podcast to go political very often, but it needs addressing. I think it needs talking about, and that's the tariffs that President Trump has put on.
He has done a 90-day pause on some of
He
it.
has done now, but I'm not fully up to date because it changes minute by minute.
Of course it does.
And it's not good for these gaming companies. Just as a quick overview, the tariffs are currently at 145%. And this is on production value. So, let me put the context I got for this from a couple of gaming companies I've spoken to about it. If a game costs you £10 to put into production, so that's your production cost, to get it shipped over to America, you have to pay £14.50 per game. Now, games like Gloomhaven cost considerably more than £10 per unit.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, Gloomhaven, the second edition, is sat in a Chinese warehouse, ready to go, but there's more than 2,500 copies of the game. Now, if you do that at £10 a game, at 145% per game, it's not feasible to get it shipped over. And we've seen a few companies already fold. They've gone. The company that makes Spirit Island have gone. And there are going to be others shortly, I think. Simon Games, Call Mini or Not, which currently changed their names, have now put a pause on this year's games. That is it. There are no more Kickstarters. Now they do, close to 30 Kickstarters a year. They've stopped because I think they posted, don't quote me on this, it's roughly a $2.2 billion loss last year before the tariffs came in. But they did put 25 games into production and only deliver 4 of them. So, I know that people are getting their games and they will do. They've done it that way. But those games haven't gone to sale yet. So next year, their profits will be up if the tariffs go back to normal. Now, video games and gun manufacturers are exempt from these tariffs. So I know people like Isaac Childs, who is the designer of Gloomhaven, Cellofair Games. They are lobbying to put themselves forward, same as video games, to get that done. But at the minute, the consensus seems to be from Congress that they want the games to be made in the US. What they don't realise is, to get the equipment sent over to America, they're going to have to pay the tariffs. And you're looking at £1,000 a unit charged at 145%. Just to get it over there, the infrastructure isn't there. Now, China are being funny about this, obviously, because it is all political. I'm not going to give my opinions on this. I'm just going to give you what we know so far. I know that they're selling Gucci bags at production cost straight from them because they're sitting in a warehouse. I've backed Dinogenics, and they have stopped production. Well, they haven't stopped production. They're still on timeline at the minute, but Pledge Manager hasn't gone out. It was supposed to go out 2 months ago because they simply don't know what's going to happen. Now, we live in the UK. These tariffs don't affect us at the minute. But if a company's main selling base is the US, then they're not just going to make it just for us. I mean, I've pledged my money, and we have been assured that they'll find a way around it. Now, the board gaming community is amazing. If the Isaac turns around to some of the people and says, "Look, we need to ask you for a little bit more money just to get these games in, so that China don't sell them at half the price that they should be." Even though there will be some people out there that go, "Let them sell it at half the price it will be. You need to give me my money back." Some people are obviously already asking for refunds because they don't know what's going on. They want their money back. I mean, I pledged close to $250 to Dynogenics. And obviously that's money's just in limbo at the minute, but they are currently on time. They just don't know what's going to happen yet, whether they need to ask the American backers for more money, whether they want to blanket across everybody and put a consensus out there and see if everybody wants to pay more money. Most people aren't going to want to at the minute.
Yeah, I was going to say.
If it doesn't affect them, then it shouldn't. I think.
I think people are going to argue with that. If why should I pay for?
I think as a one-off,
else?
I think most people are okay doing it to make sure that game gets to them, and it doesn't. There is a company that's gone under. I won't name them. They have 4 Kickstarters in production, and they've disappeared off the face of the earth. So the crowdfunders and the Kickstarters of those games have spent their money, and they're going to get nothing.
Nothing at all. Which is, it is part of the risk of crowdfunding, but also
yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you
not in that way.
When you back a game on Kickstarter or GameFound or back a kit, you are not buying a product. It's something we'll go into when we do something about crowdfunding. You are giving money to a company for an idea they have, and they are presenting you with a gift in return. You are not buying a game. You're not. It's not a store. Some people don't understand that, but these companies now are going to struggle. It was a booming business last year. Billions and billions of pounds have gone into board gaming recently, and one political bit of nonsense, to be fair, it could destroy everything. I've seen companies closing. I know Stonemaier Games, who make Wormspan and Wingspan, are currently going through process to sue the president because they think it's unjust that he can just do this. There is rumours of insider trading now, so there's business people that are in contact with Trump and changing their stocks and shares as tariffs go up and down. It's all rumour. Like I said, we're not going to get political on it. The outlook at the minute, if it stays as it is grim for board gaming companies. When we go to the expo next month, it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen.
It'd be interesting to see who's there as well.
Yeah.
Like, who's come across, because usually, there's a few there from the States, and yeah, they might come over and say, look, no, we're going to just do a European release of it only because we've got a distribution, we've got a manufacturer in, say, Germany or somewhere.
I think, as it stands, companies just don't know where they stand. If he turns around now and says it's staying at 145%, you need to find another way. You're not going to be exempt. A load of companies are going to close. One of the companies is closed, and they're blaming another company because they didn't give them the money to buy them out. But that's just a mess. We're not going to go into that. It's all hearsay at the minute. But companies are struggling, and what we're going to see is these little companies disappear. They're not going to survive this. But it's not just the companies that make them. You've got to look at the companies that sell these games. The little independent stores that get them shipped into America. There's already, I think I've seen 50 closed down because they can't get stuff in because they've got to pay the tariffs to get it shipped to them.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't seem right. Now, obviously, there is a rumour that it's going to 250%. But that was before he put the 90-day pause on. So we'll see what happens. I think he is finally seeing that this can't continue. We will let you know what we know when we know it. If we need to pop on and do a very quick chat about it, then we can. If anybody knows anything else or wants to know any more information, then hit us up. We'll try and find out what we can. But as it stands at the minute, companies are going to struggle. I'm looking at Robo Rover, the proper technological one that costs money to make. Getting it shipped is going to kill it. But fingers crossed it gets sorted.
I think, in a way, though, it also opens up the realms of possibility of more American-based companies making their own little small runs, with the rise of resin printers and
yeah, I think I see where you're coming from, but as I said before, those printers come from China. The infrastructure they need comes from China.
Yeah, but now, if you've already got all that equipment,
if you've already got it, then you don't use those.
You could open up the possibilities of making small runs and being a distribution or manufacturing hub for ideas.
Absolutely, you could. And in theory, what he's trying to do makes sense, but you need to give companies the time to get that infrastructure in place. You can't just do it. China is a big production country, and that's what they do. And that's why he's done it, because he knows he's going to get his way some way. There'll be a deal at some point. We just don't know when that is, and if it comes too late, then I think it's going to be a real shame. But that's enough of the politics. Let's move on to something a little bit more light-hearted. Pops quiz. The last couple of Pops quizzes, you haven't done very well, Pops.
I know. I'm on a downward trend, aren't I?
You are. I think you might do a bit better this time. Not 100%.
I'm not feeling confident.
One of the questions is a little bit out there, but bear with. Are you ready?
Yeah, go on then.
Feel free to post your scores. Let us know how you're getting on, or if you even like the segment, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted us to do something different, I think we've got a guest coming for our next episode.
We have a guest with us,
and I think we're going to play a game instead of just doing a quiz. Because he will annihilate you.
You think I don't know that?
So, question 1. Who originally created the Ouija board?
Mr. Luigi.
Which board gaming company?
Or which board gaming
originally created the Ouija board?
Parker.
Hasbro.
Same company, right?
Now I think they are. Don't quote us on that. Originally sold as a fun family game, a Ouija board.
Yeah, fun for the family. The dead ones.
That is one board game that is not allowed in our house.
Is that because she said?
No, me.
Oh, no.
I'm too superstitious for that.
I might
definitely not
buy a copy.
You can have it at your house. I'll do one at your house.
But you won't do it in this house?
Absolutely not. Right, question number 2. I think this is one you might get. How many blank tiles are in a game of Scrabble?
Can I have a plus or minus?
I'll give you 2 guesses.
I want to say about 7.
Oh, way too high. No.
4.
2. There's 2 blank tiles.
You can tell I've never had a brand new pack of Scrabble, and I've always just had random.
You've just had old ones where the letters have rubbed off.
No, it's when I've bought them second hand and people have lost letters, so they've just replaced them with whatever tiles they've got.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that is there's 2 blank tiles in Scrabble. Right. I believe when I say current version of this game, it's the version that's been out for quite a while. So, in the current version of Battleships, how many squares do your ships cover when placed?
How many squares?
Yeah.
Depends on the size of the ship.
In total.
In total?
Yep. Insert funky music here.
Insert the sound of a brain whirling. Are we doing? As you can tell, I'm trying to prolong this. Are we going on about like both or just one side?
Just one side.
Just one side.
Your ships. 1, 2,
14.
17.
I missed the ship out, didn't I?
Well done, though. That was good. That was closer than I thought you were going to get. Right. On to games that you might know. In which game are you trying to flick plastic discs into a cup?
Tiddlywinks.
Hey!
I actually got a question right.
There's your one. Can you beat last week's score with question number 5? Which game's tagline is a party game for horrible people?
A party game for horrible people.
Yep. It has been mentioned today.
Something really...
Think about it. No. Something rotten, you know.
Cards Against Humanity.
Yep. It is Cards Against Humanity.
Really...
Yeah, that's Pop's quiz. You got 2 this time. Well done. I listen to a lot of paranormal podcasts, and the Ouija board one just threw me for a loop. So I was like, I've got to include that this week. So next week there will be no Pop's quiz. I'm sure you'll all be sad to know about that, but
I'm not.
believe we'll be using one of the many board games I have to play some sort of game with our guest. Just as a quick heads up, the next episode will probably be coming out shortly after this one. Our next episode is our preview of the UK Board Game Expo. We'll be doing a quick rundown, beginner's guide, what we're looking forward to.
We're looking forward to what to expect in a way, like what stuff that's going on there.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more knowledge of the tariffs and of the companies that are going to be there as well.
Yeah. And also go onto the UK Board Game Expo website and kind of have a look, see what they're doing, follow them on social media as well.
Yeah. If you like board games and you live in the UK, then definitely try and go to the expo. It's at the end of May. It's the last weekend of May into June at the Birmingham NEC. I've been going for the last few years. I've worked it once before as well, and it's just good fun for all the family. But we'll tell you more about that next week with our guest. Just quickly before we finish, please remember to leave us a rating, comment anything you would like, anything good, anything bad. We can take it. We're big boys. This podcast cannot improve without feedback, so please give us feedback. Follow us on Instagram. It is the __Tome _of_worms_pod. That's on Instagram. We are trying to be a bit more frequent on there. Please comment on the post that's about to go up about The Matrix being the best film in the world. Let us know if you think it is, and let us know if it isn't, what is your best film in the world. Mine is currently on a poster behind Pops.
There is also a little bit of a segue there, because at some point we will be doing an episode on board game based movies
that have board games based on them.
Same thing.
Yes, absolutely. We will be doing that at some point soon. Please tell your friends about us if you like it. If you don't like it, then tell somebody you don't like to listen to us.
And tell them why.
We would like to get this podcast into a position where we're getting a little bit more seen in the board game world. If you think we're talking absolute rubbish, please let us know, and we will try and...
We do all the time.
Yeah, we'll try our best to improve. Once again, just please let other people know about our podcast. We are only little, but we do enjoy what we do. Anything else for today, Pops?
No.
That was a long pause for that one. All right, thanks again, guys. We'll see you again soon.
Ta-ra.